Let's see here. Oh, ready to go. Stefan is ready to go. And we are, what, 7 minutes in. Okay. Stefan, I clicked on you. I invited you. And then, okay, now we're waiting for you to join. Crossing my fingers.
Hello, Chuck. Welcome from
hello. This is like, you know, but it's always like this. The first 7 minutes is just like this, you know, and then we get people. Delighted, folks. Okay, let's get into the substance. First of all, give us about 30 seconds about yourself, and also I'm going to be interested in, you know, the quality, and I'll tell you at my end how the quality of the sound is. Go ahead.
Lovely. So, hello from Malta. I'm Stefan Buttigieg. I'm a specialist trainee in public health medicine, working within the Ministry for Health, and currently very deeply involved within the Marketing and PR Committee for eHealth Week. But other than that, I'm extremely passionate about clinical informatics. I'm doing 2 masters right now. Crazy, right? And one in health economics and one in public health. And I'm so delighted to meet you, Chuck. I think we're going to have long conversations, definitely.
I have 2 masters. I have 2 masters too.
Yeah.
And I've got to mention that I used to teach teach sort of medical informatics within a school of business at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, and there was a PhD there, a guy with a PhD in business, and I had 2 masters, an MD and 2 masters.
Okay.
And he said something about, you know, people need 2 masters like a dog needs 2 tails, which I thought was a terrible thing to say, but it's nice to meet someone going after 2 masters. I like it. So let's because we have the viewers here, and because you are really plugged in and you are on the ground organizing there, I'd like to really spend the next 5 or 10 minutes talking about eHealth Week in Malta, and take advantage of the fact we have a good connection. I hear a little bit of distortion, but I understand you. So I guess we've got quite a few U.S. Folks here watching. They're from the Health IT social media community.
Hello.
We have clinicians who have gone into the IT side. We've got IT people who are working at clinical IT vendors, and I go to HIMSS conferences here in the United States and medical informatics and so forth. Tell us, kind of the genesis of eHealth Week and the Malta conference, and I guess it moves around and it's in different countries, but then also there were several other related conferences. I guess that it's something in the UK. So could you kind of help us, some of the US folks here, to kind of understand kind of the current state of the sort of trade show and health, the digital health strategy going on in the European Union? What are the hot button issues?
Hi, so Chuck, the eHealth Week conference. Okay, eHealth Week conference is an annual conference. It's usually organized in the country which has the EU presidency. Right now, Malta has had the EU presidency for the first 6 months, and as a natural consequence of that, we were asked to organize eHealth Week. Of course, we have the honor to have Dr. Ajus Muscat, who is the mastermind behind this event. And I'm working within the Marketing and PR Committee, as I said before. What's interesting about this is that actually right now, we're also in some sort of transition. That means that this year, actually, there will be 2 eHealth Weeks. And there will be one in Malta, and there will be, at the end of the year, there should be one also in Tallinn. As you can see, also Brexit has had an effect also on eHealth Weeks. But putting that aside, usually it is organized with the country who has the president, usually. So for Malta, it's a wonderful occasion, which comes, we calculated, Hugo actually calculated that it would take us about another 17 years to actually organize eHealth Week again in Malta. So definitely this is one of the occasions where we decided to take the mantle and make it be a part of it. eHealth Week this year will take a bit more of a shift towards the policy focus. Before, let's say every eHealth Week there are the commercial vendors, there is the panel discussions, there are multiple organizations such as the ECH Alliance, EFMI. There are multiple, and they're actually involved in the organization. And actually, Hugo, as you can see, the chat did a really good explanation. In fact, so that's because Estonia would have had the presidency in the first half of 2018, but instead it will have it in the second half of 2017. So that's a really good explanation why it will happen in Tallinn in October. So it would be interesting to actually see even the contrast. Whilst we are a country who are definitely moving very fast, but also in a transition stage, it will also be an interesting opportunity to see also Estonia and compare and contrast and see what we can do better and what they can learn from us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's like this, and we're hoping to meet in every eHealth week of every year, I hope.
Yeah, that's. Thank you very much. And it's always. I'm sure. I'm guessing folks when they look at something happening in the U.S., because it's a different structure than that would have been. I could imagine giving a similar but different explanation of how the HIMSS conferences are organized and where they are. Now I'm thinking about asking Hugo to take a seat here again. We tried a couple times and it failed.
Let's
but
again.
We give it a
trying. We're head
go ahead
anyway, so we keep on trying.
Yeah, and
so he can join as well. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah, up to I can host up to 2. So
this is fire talk actually. So it looks like a cool medium to use. Actually,
yes, it is fun. Yes. In fact, I'm going to tweet out a link just in case anybody comes along. And now I'm looking at my Twitter browser, and I just tweeted it out. Okay, so now I'm back. Okay, so yeah, so now he appeared and then disappeared, and so there's a set of connections. So I'm going to let's see. I'm looking at the time here. Let's see if see how since Danielle, okay, is a social media ambassador.
Yeah.
So I'm giving those folks kind of the Malta and social media ambassadors priority.
Yeah.
And then kind of at the half-hour mark, which may be more at the 40-minute mark.
I'll be more than happy to kick myself off.
No. You're working. You have a working channel. You have high.
So I should say.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Otherwise I'm stuck here alone.
So
don't hit any cancel buttons or anything.
No problem. Chuck,
yes.
Actually, I have a question for you. And first of all, I'm extremely intrigued by your article today on robots.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I want to connect with. Oh, hello, robot.
This is the shell of.
I love it. I really love it.
It's all the electronics fit inside here, and then the speaker goes right in here, and then you notice there's like a little slot.
Okay.
It actually fits in the pocket.
Lovely. In fact, I'm curious if you used Arduino. What did you use? Because I actually wrote a book on Arduino.
Ooh. Oh, that's fantastic! I'm gonna search for that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to. Well, first of all, I am trying to make this about the European medical informatics. Now, there was an excellent panel last year. Did you attend that?
I was
the panel
week in Amsterdam. I had opportunity to be there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay. So I'll just say, and Greg here, I think, has seen Mr. Rimp. He is actually on Twitter. RIMP. RIMP stands for Robot in My Pocket. And you saw there was a YouTube video of me arguing with Mr. Rimp, and that was version 3.
Oh, lovely.
And I'm working on version 4. Version 4 is going to be probably Raspberry Pi based, and I'm very excited about the new Google AI SDK. Just like for folks who are not as familiar with Arduino, and of course Greg here I know is, and Raspberry Pi, you can stack things on them. They have GPI, they have I/O places where wires can fit, and on the Raspberry Pi they're called a hat. And so Google has come out with a natural language processing hat for its Google Home Assistant system, which I'm very impressed with. In fact, I was working on creating a conversation with Mr. Rimp using that. And so now in fact, I'm calling around the bookstores here trying to find, because it's supposed to be free with the latest version of the Magpie magazine. By the way, Greg, the Kansas City, call your Barnes and Noble and find out if they have the May number 57 issue, because they have the free hat from Google AI that goes on the works with the Raspberry 3. And if you have one, get two and get one for me, because I'm calling around here, and I may drive to Cleveland. I'm willing to drive to Cincinnati or Cleveland, which is 2 hours. Okay, so now let's I want to loop back. Tell us a little bit about your, you wrote a book on this, so you're getting 2 masters. The Arduino connection. This is all really interesting. And then you went to this panel last year, and a lot of it had to do with sort of like home robots or home automation, keeping people aging in place. Okay, now pick whatever you want out of that little brain dump, and give us an interesting 3 minutes on your view of robotics in healthcare.
So I think we've definitely just got started. We're in a stage of time where it's an ongoing development, definitely. And my view on that is that we're still getting started, and we're just exploring at this point in time. But what I was really impressed recently, let's say unfortunately or fortunately, Facebook is a really good source of videos related to robotics. And one of the interesting things is actually I saw a robot doing very fine microsurgery. Now, if we have arrived to that stage, I think that within the next 10 years, we will have a clinically tried robots. So they would have gone through the clinical trials and being used on a regular basis, especially for small, let's say we want to have a small procedure such as the removal of sebaceous cysts. Something extremely small and extremely routine procedure, which surgeons, I'm sure, are really bored to do on a daily basis. And robotic surgery has a role in that aspect to make things even more efficient and effective and even more precise. So I see a lot of role there. And but I think the next 10 years will be revolutionary, both for robotic surgery and both for artificial intelligence. That is the hope that I see in the next 10 years. I think that pretty much summarizes my thoughts about it at this point in time, huh?
Yeah. Well, here's kind of how, and I just tried to invite Hugo, and he asked to be a guest, but it didn't transpire.
Nope.
I'm gonna look at the view. I'm gonna see. So a couple minutes ago. So Danielle said she's almost there, meaning I guess she's almost to an internet connectivity point.
Coming to my place, so she will be here as well.
I don't have it here. Actually, I have a robot it's called Easy Robot from a company in Calgary, and it's in its servos, and you can control it. What's interesting about it is Hugo is saying that he sees the accept button, but it doesn't respond. Hugo, if you're on Chrome, try Firefox. And if you're on Firefox, try Chrome. That may actually, those are the two that sometimes that works. Anyway, in fact, Manuel, I'm trying to think, Venezuela, and my advisor at Carnegie Mellon University years ago, she's giving a talk at a business process management conference in Portugal. Manuela Velosa, and she is kind of like the top expert on cobots.
Robot?
Yeah, cobots. A cobot is a robot that cooperates with human or potentially other robots. Okay. But it's like so instead of programming it to do everything, you can actually show it what to do, and it will mimic you and kind of communicate with you, and it has good social skills, so to speak. So like one of my favorite examples years ago was there was this robot that would rolled around, and this is like 15 years ago, at the Department of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon, and it would take people to appointments. Okay, and now so Carnegie Mellon doesn't have just a department of computer science; it is a school of computer science in an enormous building with like 8 floors. I mean, it's just enormous. Okay, and so this robot would take you from office to office, and it would go into, and when you'd walk into the elevator, with this cobot, co/co, and it would say, "I don't have any arms. Could you please press floor 5?" So yeah, so it actually, it actually, the things it couldn't do, it actually kind of turned into advantages, because you kind of wanted to help the robot. You know what I mean? You felt valued because you had a finger, you could push the
I
button.
think there's that. I mean, the fact that the robot is not human.
Yeah.
There is that barrier, that there's, I think, that trust issue.
Yes.
And we as humans, we struggle through these quite a lot. And
yes.
At the same time, the fact that it's actually called cobot, and the fact that the robot is kind of reaching out and possibly using machine learning to let interaction and actually going back and reviewing what they have just done, that's actually really a step forward, a milestone. I have hope. Yeah, so I'm really curious about this. So now I learned a new term, cobot.
Cobot, yeah. Well, as it relates, and there are several people here know, I'm an industrial engineer who went to medical school, so I'm very interested in workflow, okay? And workflow, and I'm particularly interested in workflow technology, not just going with a stopwatch and mapping out workflows, but rather designing workflow. Instead of writing C# and Java programs, people just mapping workflows, and those being the representations that are executed by workflow engines, which has been done in other industries for a couple of decades. Healthcare is not doing that much yet. But what's interesting is programming robots, like this robot that I mentioned, Easy Robot, like Google's Easy Robot. It's like a workflow editor. You drag and drop, and you create these workflows. And so, like, one step is like, in different levels of abstraction. So it walks around the floor, and you can say, go ahead 10 feet, or go ahead 10 feet, or go ahead until you get to an obstacle, then stop.
That's
okay.
So artificial intelligence, actually, when you think about it.
Well, yes. Now at the lower levels, you've got the pattern matching, so it can detect an obstacle, but those become primitives that you then at a higher level can construct flows. These workflows. You think about work. I mean, traditionally in a manufacturing company, people are assembling things and cutting things and putting them together, and then there's a flow, there's a sequence. And so programming these robots is actually very much like programming workflow systems. Which is actually why I got the darn robot, which was expensive, because I got it specifically because it showed off the workflow stuff, which I'm obsessed with. Okay, so let's look here and who we got. We still got 10 viewers, which is great.
Nice.
And I'm going to Hugo. I'm sorry. By the way, could you tell us a little bit about Hugo? We've tried to get Hugo on. I know that I'm going to see him or meet them. And so you give us a minute or two on Hugo, my impression is that we owe him something for our opportunity to come to Malta and learn. So please go ahead.
So I do not hesitate to say that Hugo is the father of digital health in Malta. I have no doubt about that. And as much as there is the father, there is also the family. So slowly and steadily, I'm proud to say that in Malta, we're building a family of digital health clinicians, and we're building a community. It takes time, but it's not impossible. I mean, the challenge with being a small nation such as ours is that to build so many specialties, it takes time. So Hugo is my mentor throughout my training. But most of all, actually, Hugo did studies in health information science in the UK. I can't remember exactly which university. I'm not sure if it was Warwick. And he did studies in health information science. He first started off in his career as a family physician. And as things went along, they actually started discussing with him, you're interested in healthcare IT. Now let's involve you. And at the time, as the story goes, then he started doing public health medicine, and he was doing all kinds of things. So he might have been called to deal with an outbreak, or he might have been called to investigate some infectious disease. So Hugo has been very deeply involved with the public health community. At some point in time, he was also the director of health informatics, let's say that would be an equivalent of a hospital CIO in Mater Dei Hospital. So, and right now, Hugo's actually working. He's asking what I was saying about him.
All positive. Everything has been very, very laudatory.
If I can repeat, I was saying that you are the father of digital health, Hugo, which I think is quite appropriate to say in this discussion. And
now, I think on this, and folks who are watching this, don't leave this page to do it. But I think the original link, didn't I grabbed a YouTube and I put it on this page. Was that of, who was on that? Was that?
I actually just used the one on Twitter, the link on Twitter I used.
It's on the main. No. Okay. So when you go to when you go to this page and you haven't logged in and we're not live, there's a YouTube video that was on the ehealthweek.org or com website. The main one that has music and and something. It was anyway. That I was wondering if that was Hugo. Anyway. Of course, we have Hugo here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Hugo. All right. Let's take a look at.
I think
Danielle.
try the app.
No, she's not ready. Go ahead.
He could try the app as the last resort.
Yeah, the app doesn't work as well as the browsers, but the other thing is switch to a different laptop. I do that kind of thing. So you just switch everything. So different network, different laptop, different browser.
Yeah, we have our
different possible universe, multiverse. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna. There are some folks here from the U.S. Do you mind if I invite, even though they're So I'm gonna actually. I'm gonna go for John because he's associated with hymns, and then I do want to get Greg on here if Greg is still here. I'm hoping he'll do some research and get me a copy of the May issue of Magpie, because they have a free Google AI voice recognition hat.
I'm wondering if you will be considering the Alexa SDK actually.
Yeah. Well, I looked at Alexa. I'm looking for. Nope. I'm gonna try John one more time. And then it went away, and then I'll try Greg. I looked at Alexa as a voice interface to Mr. Rim version 4, but Alexa doesn't do connected conversation well. Now they have something called Lex, I believe, coming out, which does that. But Home Assistant allows you to, again, workflow. It's like diagram conversations as workflows. And that's what I'm excited about. I like this idea of programming at the level above if-then statements. I mean, I've programmed them in 20 different languages, but I really like being able to diagram out, or maybe even demonstrate something and have something watch and understand and recognize, and that become the program, like in the Cobot example. John said he has to go. So, okay. Yeah, Greg can't make it either, but that's okay. I'm just delighted that what we have so far. Now when this can be played later, so if I'll snip off that first 8 minutes.
Okay.
Let's take a look here at other viewers. We got Dave. Oh, Costas I'm going to give priority to the social media ambassadors, and we have one here. And
ask you a favor.
Yes.
I'm gonna go and get Danielle.
Okay.
To my flat here, and she will continue the conversation. So we need about 10 to 15 minutes to join in the conversation. Is that all right?
Can we keep you? Okay, Danielle has been on Fire Talk a lot, actually, with me. So I'm kind of wanting to. You're a new and interesting and unknown quantity, and also, they say about the bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'm not sure if that's. It's like okay, the fact I've got Stefan here is worth more than the possibility of both Stefan and Danielle in the future.
Oh, okay.
Given the net present value of discounted value of return.
I'm simple. I'll get it.
Okay, so I'm gonna try Kostas.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Kostas or Kostas?
Go for it, Kostas.
Yes. And Danielle can fend for yourself. See what you're missing. No, but she's great. She's been on like half a dozen or a dozen of these.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. She's a pro. She understands the like the potentially shambolic nature of. So I'm inviting so Stefan, from your end, do you see like a third square and then a countdown, counting down? Yeah. I'm not sure if other viewers are seeing that, but anyway, thank you, John, and thank you, Greg, for showing up. Very nice. John Sharp is associated, works with HIMSS, a part of HIMSS and the Patient Connected Alliance out of Cleveland, a couple hours from here. Okay, I'm going to try Mr. Giacos one more time. I've tried it 3 or 4 times, and then we're going to go down the list. We got Joe and Dave Brutus. I think I'm going to go. Joe is a pro at this. There was a program called Blab, which is very similar to this. It lasted a year. It just spiked. I mean,
yeah,
and it was free, and people would blab for 4 hours. And now this is a kind of a semi-paid version, but it's kind of similar. While we're waiting for you, okay, he didn't make it, so now I'm going to go for Joe. Because he's a very polished fellow. You can see he's got headphones.
He's ready to go at any time.
Yeah, he's got wait. Yeah, I hope we get to see his setup. I mean, he's got like these large microphones on cranes that he moves around, and then wherever he puts it, it just stays there. You know. Okay. Now, what was your undergraduate degree in?
So by training, I'm a physician. So I did medical school in Malta.
Okay.
So I have my MD.
But now you've got this, I mean, writing a book on Arduino feels like an electrical engineer. I mean, I know you don't have to be an electrical engineer to do that, but I think, you know, so along the way, did you just pick that up, or did you take some courses, or? So
I actually just stopped medicine for a while. And so I actually finished my medical school, did 1 year of internship. In Malta, the internship is actually 2 years. So I did the first year. And basically, my wife was based in Poland, and at that time she was still my girlfriend. And I got fed up, so I wanted to go to Poland. I lived there for 1 year, and of course, I didn't want to do medicine. I wanted to do something totally different. So I kind of dived deep into mobile app development. As a consequence of that, I met someone through a meetup who's an expert on Arduino. As a result of that, then he told me, listen, I have a book opportunity, Android Arduino. Do you want in? And my natural instinct was actually to say yes. So that's where I learned all about Arduino. And I think one of the most exciting moments of being in having this adventure actually was the moment when I managed to create an Android app from scratch to get a robot moving.
Yep.
That was incredibly cool. It was beyond me when I saw it happen in front of me. So yeah, that's how I know about Arduino. Then I returned back to my country, Malta, and both of us, we moved here now.
Yeah.
And then I continued, finished my internship, and started public health medicine with the hope that one day I will actually specialize into clinical informatics. And I hope that I will start up this specialty in Malta. So that is one of my hopes. Set up a digital health institute, start a specialty for doctors to be able to apply for the specialty.
Yeah.
It's such a big field that it deserves its own specialty, definitely. I mean, that's my vision for Malta, the academic vision aspect of it, and the professional vision.
I love it. The part where you said, I naturally said yes. Okay. There's a movie, I think, with Jim Carrey. It's 2 hours long, and it's about this man who said, and he has a vow, or he's cursed or something. But anyway, he can't say no. He says yes to everything for 1 year. Okay. I've not actually seen the movie, but I've seen the trailer for it. But then his life just goes, you know, in the trailer, it just shows him doing like incredible things, you know, like climbing Mount Everest and going to the moon. And because he just saying yes, 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 just leads you on a path.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful, optimistic kind of leitmotif, to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are now, okay, so it took us to about 7 or 8 minutes after the hour to get things going, and now we're at about 36. So we got a couple of minutes here left. And so I think, and at that point, anybody who can get on. Dave here is a really interesting fellow from British Columbia, Internet of Things in healthcare. Okay, so there's a connection to robotics there. I want to get him on, but so I can kind of cut this, out this half hour, and it's kind of you and me, and yes, it is kind of informal, but it can be repurposed. So now you've got about 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to kind of sum things up and include in that a kind of a warm welcome to Malta. Kind of look ahead and kind of tell us what to expect, what the vibe is going to be like, and of course. Your feelings about what is it, like 1,200 folks showing up to Malta to participate and share with you their experience and your experience with them. Go ahead, 3 minutes.
So yeah, let's do this. So I welcome everyone to eHealth Week in Malta. You're very, very, very welcome. The dream for us is to set up and start up the digital health scene in Malta and scale it up to infinity, I hope, at least. And we invite you here in Malta to experience a country which is in transition when it comes to e-health. So that's important for you to explore what it has been before the whole transition, to kind of understand that, and at the same time see the opportunities of healthcare which is mostly public. So this is a healthcare which is not, which is, let's say, free at the point of service to all taxpayers. And this is an incredible opportunity for you to see how can digital health transform healthcare which is paid free at the point of service. So that's an interesting opportunity for all of you. At the same time, I think that Malta is an exotic place to be. It's sunny, the weather is great, and I can't wait to have a chat with you, possibly maybe with a beer next to the sea or next to the pool, and we have a chat about health IT, and we have a lot to learn from you. That is definitely clear. We are here to learn most of all. So when you come here to our beloved country, which is about just 423,000 people living here. I hope that with all the delegates it doesn't sink, but it's not going to be the case. And but definitely, I would love to see you here, and let's learn from each other. First of all, just to conclude, this event will have a really good mix of policy. It will have a good mix of commercial solutions to see what are the limits and what can be achieved and what is the potential. And at the same time, it will also be an opportunity to go into the technical aspects and into how can, what is available for us and what is the future. In fact, for me, in the last in WooHit and eHealth Week 2017, I got excited actually by the presence of Oculus, a virtual reality company who is actually diving deep into healthcare. So that's really interesting. And I invite you to be here to be a part of the healthcare transformation of Europe and also worldwide.
There was a wonderful wrap up, and we've had a wonderful conversation here with Stefan, who is on the ground, so to speak, in Malta, organizing and preparing the way for folks to come from Europe and from the United States to see the Maltese digital health model, the European digital health model, and I'm so excited. And I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
And fantastic. Thumbs up. Everything. Well, everything's good.
Bye, and see you soon, everyone.